Uh, Hello, everybody. Welcome to another section of the SSX from the ETF community. And today we'll be talking to one of our community members. Uh, we have an interesting topic for you, and he is a senior engineer who's going to be sharing insight on product roadmaps and how to prioritize its features. Like I mentioned initially, with the ETF community, we share knowledge here. And so I'm just going to bring our guest speaker to the stage, and then we'll just go on and continue the program from there. So buckle up, sit down, ask your questions if you have any, and we, if the community, will be willing and available to hear you. So our speaker for today, yeah. Hi, Trevor. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Gloria. It's nice being with you this day. Thank you for bringing me on.
Yeah,
Session.
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure talking to you today too. We're looking forward to very insightful conversations today. But I'm aware that you have a slide, so I'm just going to bring it up too. But while we're doing that, most of the people in our community might not be familiar with you. So do you mind like introducing yourself first, so that we know who you are?
That is fine. That's fine. So I'm Teves also. I'm a senior software developer. I have over 5 years experience building softwares and working with different founders and product owners on pivoting their products to life. And it's my pleasure this afternoon to be sharing with us about product roadmap and the how to prioritize features. So as you sit back and go through this with me, I believe it will be insightful and there will be a lot of learnings to take away from here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You're very welcome, Trevor. So I'm just going to mute my mic. But if you need me, I'll be here. Um, let me let you enlighten us about products, roadmaps, and how to prioritize its futures as either startup founders, entrepreneurs, engineers, product teams, etc.
Cool. Thank you very
So,
much, Gloria. So
yeah, the stage is yours.
let's get started. So what's product roadmap all about? What are we talking about this afternoon? We're looking at product roadmap and then the features that mix of these product roadmaps. How do you prioritize features? And to start with, product roadmap is not a new term or concept because most of us here should be familiar with it. Either you're a developer, you are a founder, you're an entrepreneur, you are a product owner, you should have come across this word along your journey. And even if you are not technical, you should also have come across this word because it's everywhere, it's all over the place. And it's something that is more of a kind of a systemic diagram or let me say structure that just defines what an organization want to achieve, where they are going to. It's a roadmap, it's a direction that gives um, everyone in an organization a visual clue of what they should be working on and of course where they are headed to. And as much as that is important, we want to look at how do you prioritize features because and the roadmap itself is more like a simplistic description of what the organization want to achieve. The roadmap itself is straightforward. It's an high level overview because when you look at the product roadmap, for instance, just go to any product um, public page. Um, are you moving the slides, Gloria? Let me find that first. Slides are moving. Yes. So let's just stay here for now. Basically, when we look at a product roadmap, a typical product roadmap, you score that it just gives you a summary, like a timeline of where are we going to, the direction. And every founder, every startup have some document that defines what they intend to achieve. And that is quite simple. But the question now comes, how do you achieve that goal, that end goal? How do you hit those milestones on the product roadmap? How do you get it done? The question now comes, where do you start from? So that is where prioritization comes in, and that's a difficult part of it. And getting a product roadmap is easy, but then prioritizing what comes first, what should be done at that time to achieve the end goal of the organization becomes a bit more and tricky. So that is what I want to look at this afternoon. Either you're a developer, you're a founder, you are a product owner, you should have come across this challenge when you have your backlog, your features. Okay, these are all features that I would like to have in my product. The question now comes, which one should I start with? What is the most important feature to work on? So we'll be looking at, in summary, what product roadmap is for those probably who might have not, who don't have, who have not been exposed to it theoretically. We'll be looking at the summary of what it is, and then we'll be jumping over to look at how to prioritize your features when building your product. What do you start with? How do you organize, or what do you work on first? And this is just a quick introduction here. A product roadmap is a strategic plan that outlines the vision direction, as I've already said, for the organization. Let's understand what product roadmap is all about. So a product roadmap is a visual presentation that communicates the planned development of a product. Every organization that comes to be have a product, and the product is more of a vision for that organization. They have this one product and they want to build this product. You don't get to the end at the beginning. You start and then you get on a journey to get to that end you have in mind. And through this journey, you need to acquire customers, you need to build the actual product, and then you need to see how to get in some revenue. And that is what you want to do. So to give every stakeholder in the organization a picture of what the organization is trying to do, then you define a product roadmap. The key concept of a product roadmap, essential elements of product roadmap include timelines. There have to be timelines. You need to set goals. Okay, at so time we want to achieve this. Maybe you have a roadmap of 5 years, and then in the first year, for an organization, you want to have hit these milestones. This 1 year, you want to hit the other milestones. So these timelines are important because without timelines, you don't really have um, what I would call, or you don't really have targets, right? Those timelines actually push you because you want to work towards hitting the timelines. If there are no timelines, then the an open-ended product roadmap is probably not as good as it is, and it's probably going to be a dead end eventually. Then you have feature sets, the features you want to uh, include in that product. You need to have feature sets. Then you have targeted customer segments. If you have gotten your customer segment, this is key to defining what should be built. This is key to defining your priorities. Uh, a product without a customer would end up in some graveyard somewhere, in a product graveyard, right? We have a lot of startups that came up with wonderful ideas by the founders' standards, and then no customers. There were solutions that had no problems to be solved, and before you know it, this startup ended up in some graveyard somewhere. And so it's important to have customers along the line, and then to have your key performance index, your KPIs. What are the metrics to determine success? How do you determine that you've achieved your milestones? How do you know that you've hit the and the the target you've set for yourself. This component help ensure that everyone involved has a clear understanding of the growth trajectory. That's what it does. It gives a clear picture of what everyone is to do, and it tells everyone if they're actually performing, if they're actually making progress. This one, it guides the entire team toward achieving that singular goal. So let's look at how important it is to align this with your business goal. You must have a roadmap uh, that actually fulfills your business goal. Aligning your roadmap with business goals ensure that the development effort contributes to the overall success of the organization. It must not be something out of place, like something that doesn't fit into your organization. I mean, it has to be fulfilling your organization goal to be a roadmap that is for you, for your organization. So it's very, very important. So it's important to align your roadmaps to whatever goals you set for your organization. Some organizations have several roadmaps because probably they have several products. And if you look at organizations like Microsoft, for instance, I mean, there are several organizations within that single organization, and this organization have several products, and so therefore they will have several roadmap. But each of these roadmaps must align to the overall goal of the organization. And for those of us who have maybe a single startup, a single product led startup, then you have a single, maybe you have a single product roadmap. That roadmap should define what you want to achieve. When stakeholders, when investors come to look at probably come to invest in your organization, they want to know, have a summary view of the direction you are going, because that will determine if this organization is going to succeed or if they are heading for the rock somewhere. So it's important to have your roadmap in aligned with your organization goals. Very important. So let's look at what we want to look at this evening. Prioritization. This is where we'll be focusing or spending most of our time, because it is the crux of the whole matter. Having a product roadmap is good. You you can actually have that product roadmap without having a customer base, because as a founder, you have this wonderful idea. Okay, I have this idea of solving a particular problem. You could sit down with your co-founder or other partners to draw a roadmap. That is theoretical. You draw that roadmap. This is what we hope to achieve. This is where we hope to be. This is what we want to. This is where we want to go to. This is where the product will be in so time frame. But then, when you now come to the actual features that makes up that roadmap, that actually makes up the product you are building, you need to have customers. You need to speak to customers. You need to hear from customers, because the idea might be good to you. It might You might see this wonderful idea as, wow, it solves my problem. But does it solve other person's problem? So if it only solves a problem and you get it out there into the market, and then eventually it doesn't solve the problem of the customers you intend to reach out to, you don't have a business, because then there's no one coming to buy your product. So it's important to define who your customers are from the very onset, and then see how to acquire your customers. And that could be in form of sending out questionnaires. You don't have to build your product, have this perfect product ready before you acquire customers. You could just have an idea, and then to validate your idea, you send out questionnaires, you send out surveys, you reach out to friends and families, to people that you think might have this problem as well, and then you hear from them. That's is enough to validate an idea that this idea will probably sell. And so it's important to have that, because those are the information you will be gathering together to actually get your priorities right. To know, okay, what to build first. What feature do you even start building when working on your product? So it's important to have this right. Method for prioritizing features. We have some methods, some techniques, some theories that have been formulated to prioritize, to help organizations prioritize their features. We want to look at just a few of them here. And there are several of them actually out there, but let's just look at a few of them. We have the most core methods. Moscow method, which stands for must have, should have, could have, and won't have. And what the Moscow method does is it helps you. You have a list of all your products and features. Okay, this is a table that contains all your features. And then after you have interacted with your customer base, with the stakeholders, you've heard from others, you've heard from your developers, and then you can then put metrics around on each of the items. Is this a must have? This this should have. I mean, a must have means it's key to launching, right? If let's say you're just about launching the product, then a must have is a feature that without it you can't launch. So in that case, you must have that as a product feature, and then it should have it, and it's a feature that is good. It has some value and offers some value, and it's something you could actually put in the future. You could actually implement later, but not something you implement in the immediate. And then it could have is something you could. It's it's it probably meets one or two needs, but not so relevant in the future. So it's something you could do without, or you could actually decide to put it in the backlog somewhere and say, okay, sometime in the future, I will implement this. And then they won't have, those ones are features that won't scale. They don't have any value. And so there's no need investing your resources, your scarce resources in building those features. So that is what a summary of what the Moscow method that does. And then what the Kanu model Kanu model. The Kanu model here it has to do with the customer satisfaction, and it was actually developed by a Japanese professor. It has to do with it focuses so much on the customer. The customer they say is king, right? And it's right, always right. So when building products, of course, the product is for the customers, not just for your company or just for your satisfaction. If your customers are not satisfied with the product, then you don't have a product. No matter how much you've invested in building it, no matter what have gone in, no matter the effort, the time. So it's important to take note of, to value your customers' feedback. So the kind of method focuses on customer satisfaction. The customers should be satisfied. If the customer is satisfied with the feature, then it's a good one to go. If the customers are not satisfied with it, it doesn't make the customer happy. It might be a good feature, then you might want to put it aside. And then we have the weighted scoring. The weighted scoring has to do with adding, just giving weights to items, to the features. You have maybe a weight of 1 to 7. You have a weight of any number you want to use. Just based on that weight, you could, from the discussion you have with your stakeholders, customers, you could then give weights to different features. And then the ones with the highest weight should take the priority. The ones, the features with the highest weights in that list should take the priority. So these are some of the methods that organizations can usually utilize to prioritize their features. It's important to involve stakeholders in prioritizing your feature. As much as customers are king, as much as customers is key, you need to also make sure that stakeholders within the organization is actually satisfied. So that will balance in the weighting. Involving stakeholders in the prioritization process is crucial for gaining diverse perspectives and ensuring a buy-in. Regular consultations with users, sales teams, executives can lead to more informed decisions about which features to be developed. So you must have these consultations with the different departments in your organization, the marketing team, the developers, because some features, if you are, for example, using the weighted method, you could have a way such as to say, okay, we have 5 features to develop, and then you have a weight of, uh, let's say, something like you could say important and hard. Something is important but hard. Something is important and easy. Something is not important but it's hard. When a feature is not important, but it takes a lot of effort to bring out, then you don't want to invest that resources in doing that. You've connected with your developers. For instance, you have an existing product and you have an existing technology you've picked, you've used, you have a customer base already, and then you want to add this feature, and this feature will require you using a new technology. And then the question is it so important? You want to introduce a new technology to your stack. Is it so important? Is the feature so important to start getting a new technology to your stack, or perhaps start changing the technology to your stack? So it's a question that needs to be answered by the developers and then the stakeholders. So it's important. And then into also interact with the marketing team, the advanced interact, on the field, discussing with customers, need to interact with them to know what the customers actually want from the interaction. What are they found to be the key features that customers are asking for? At times, the stakeholders, the internet stakeholders probably want to have a new feature because this feature will bring more revenue. But then there's a feature that has a lot of users, but customers are complaining about that feature. They're actually complaining about it. It's bringing them pain points. Despite the fact that this new feature will bring more revenue, this existing feature is actually turning away customers. You should invest time in fixing the problem you have on hand, fixing the bug, fixing the issue that already has customers and is actually causing some pain point. Fix it. Once that is fixed and customers are satisfied with what you have on ground, then you can move on to building new features. And there's something here that I would like to talk about, especially for those who are just starting out, starting founders. You have an idea, you want to build, this wonderful product, and you don't have a customer base yet. You just have this idea, right? The first step in the process is to validate your idea. And what that means is, as I said earlier on, you don't necessarily need to build out before you validate your idea. You could use some form. But if you want to build out your first version of a product, you probably want to invest a lot of resources into that first version because you don't really know, as much as you have this good idea, you don't really know what the customers want yet until they start using your products, until they start relating with your products, interacting with your product, then you can then understand their use cases. You can understand their needs better to reform your product. And one thing I want to say in this like that is that product roadmaps should be a living document. It shouldn't be set in stone. Yes, as much as if you want your product roadmap to be useful to you, to actually be of value to your organization, to become something of that will actually help the stakeholders, help everyone on the team to reach out to the goal you have set. Then you must make sure that that roadmap is not set in stone. When you interact with your customers, you should make some modifications. Okay, they've said that this thing shouldn't be here, then you should modify that document. You should work on the features so that the document should be aligned with the needs of your customers. That is very, very important. And as I was trying to draw the attention of founders, and especially new founders, or probably you are building out a new product, don't look for building out, don't look at building out the perfect solution. You want it to be perfect before you get customers, before you acquire customers, you will be wrong because it may be perfect to you, but there are no users. If there are no users, that perfect product is useless. So it's better to have, yeah,
No,
better
go
to
on.
have a product. Okay, it's better to have a product that is not finished, that is still rusty, but customers get some satisfaction from it. Customers derive some value in it, and then they recommend improvement. They say, "Oh, this thing is good. It's not a problem, but then we could make some improvement in this direction." So it's important to have a product that's not uh, finished or not perfect yet. For instance, look at all the major uh, companies we have in the world. The big tech companies like Facebook. When Facebook started out in Harvard, right? I mean, the UI wasn't great. I mean, it didn't have the perfect UI. It didn't have the perfect everything. But people were happy. I mean, it solved the problem first. But over time, they've improved a lot on that product. So that is what you should have in mind. Of course, we know in this day and age where there's a lot of competition, you might think of, oh, let me have something that will beat my competition. My competition. Yeah, yeah, that is true. That is true. But more importantly, make sure that you don't waste time, spend time fine-tuning your products and miss out getting the customers. So make sure your customers get that product handy, use it, and then give you feedback. So let's look at balancing customer needs and business strategy. How do you balance your customer needs? Because as much as your customers have their needs, they may want to dictate to you what should to be done. Not every suggestion might be taken verbatim from them. Of course, you could make use of it to modify or to make some changes to how your product looks, but not necessarily everything. So it's important to make sure you know what your business goals are and then what your customers' needs are. For instance, you are a fintech company, you have a fintech product, and customers are saying, "Oh, is it would it be good to have a social? I mean, the kind of integration here where I can chat with my friends. I mean, it's not a social media platform. So if that feature, I mean, a few customers ask for that kind of feature, it's probably going to distract you, right? It's going to distract you from your business goals. So it's important to know what you want to achieve. If you're a fintech company, then be a fintech company and see how to get that product in that direction. If customers are asking for a feature that you know is outside your business goal, and if you can fit it within your business goal, then probably have to leave that out. So finding the right balance between customer needs and business strategy requires ongoing feedback and adaptability. By continuously engaging with customers and analyzing market trends, road managers can adjust their roadmap to ensure that they meet both user expectations and business objective. And one thing we want to take note again is if your product roadmap is a living document, then it's easy to pivot. For instance, you start a product, maybe a fintech company, to probably do money transfers and the rest. And then it's called that you don't have people using, or probably you have some users on this fintech company. I mean, uh, using your products, and then there's one feature in your product. Probably, um, uh, let me give a real example of what a product that actually is pivoted in this manner. And Slack is a good example of that in such a product. Slack originally was built for um, gamers, right? Was built for gamers just to communicate with each other, and it wasn't the main product. The communication feature wasn't the main product. It was just a byproduct of of another product. But eventually, they discovered that more people use this little feature more than the main product, and then they discovered that people are investing more time here. So what they do, they simply pivoted. They pivoted from just being a gaming platform of such, and then into a full-blown communication platform. So that is what I must take note of. When building your product roadmap, make sure that it's living and make sure you are ready to pivot. I think this is why many startups die is because they are unable to pivot. They don't really see the need of the customers. Okay, you start a product, a product, a startup, and then it's quite that your customer needs not in this direction, but in this direction. You should think of how to adjust your product to fit. Because if there are no customers for this particular solution, then think of how to pivot. Instead of just dying out, you could pivot and still remain. A lot of companies have pivoted in this way. Airbnb pivoted, and several other startups, most billion-dollar startups today, companies today, have pivoted what they are doing today is not what they started doing. They started with something else, but today they're so you could always do this, and that is only possible if you're able to prioritize features and know what customers want, balancing what is important. So let's look at the end of it. Effective feature prioritization is key to creating successful product roadmap. It involves understanding business goals, employing prioritization methods, and actively engaging stakeholders to balance needs and strategic objectives. So it is important that your product roadmap is living. It's important that you're able to prioritize your features effectively. That is, a, is the only way your product can survive. That's the only way your startup, your business can actually remain once you are building. Because if you don't do that, you end up investing resources in the wrong thing, wrong features that will not be shipped, wrong product that will not scale, and eventually you run out of resources and then you close shop. Thank you very much for listening and looking forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Trevor. I mean, you touched on a lot of things that probably came up as questions from the poll that we had on social media. Um, it was insightful, and I'm sure that most of the founders or people that are aspiring to be founders, when they're listening to this, they have like most of their answers from what you said. Just a few questions from my end, right? So we understand the need of prioritizing and user experience. I mean, you also mentioned that when a product is roadmap is when you're drafting a product roadmap, if it should not be set in stone, it should be something that can be pivoted, something that should be flexible to the changes that might occur during the time. Like you gave an example of Slack. Now, how and also you mentioned the how involved stakeholders are supposed to be regarding like the decisions and the user experience or whatever it is that the product's supposed to the trajectory to which the product is going to take, because when you start using the product, that's when you know, okay, this is what we're supposed to improve and so we're not supposed to. So my question is, how in on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe we'll use that. How involved are stakeholders supposed to be in a product? Because say I'm a founder, I have an idea, and this is what I want to build, right? Most times, you rarely get people who share the same vision with you. They're not looking at this product as much as the way you are seeing it. So, which if you gather all of this opinion, if you are not someone that is very firm with what you believe or the vision that you had initially, you might change into doing something that might not be as validated as the idea you had initially. So that's where the question comes: how much involvement are stakeholders supposed to have while creating a product roadmap or prioritizing a future for a product?
Okay, okay, thank you for that question. And I'll just use this analogy quickly. Somebody said, don't allow the hippos to to determine your features or product roadmap. Hippos,
Right.
he meant high paid individuals' opinion. The high paid, I mean, the individuals, the stakeholders who have interest in that company. I mean, stakeholders, their interest is in their response, right? And they are not the customers, they are not the users of this product. If you want to actually make your product scale, then you must focus on the customers more than what the stakeholders. So I'll put it on a scale of 1 to 10. It's not it will be something around stakeholders should have as little as 5%. I mean, that's even much, but let's say 5%. I mean, not 5%. I mean, of that. I mean, five. That's 2.5 of that scale, 1 to 10, 2.5. Then
Okay.
customers will have more say. Customers will have more say in your product. That is only when your product or your business, your company, your startup will survive.
Okay. Actually, That's very that's very good. That actually leads me to the next question, right? So say then, and this actually came from somebody, a product manager from different company is asking, say you have two features, one that improves performance and the other one that enhances user experience. How would you decide which one to prioritize? Now you already have the
Okay.
product out, but you have two features that you want to work on, one that improves performance and the other that enhances user experience. How would you decide which one should come first, which one is more important?
I'll put it this way. To determine what's important, you could use the method, the scale. So the pain point, knowing what's the pain point, which causes more pain point to the user.
Mm,
The application is slow. The application is, I mean, the performance is slow. I mean, that causes some pain, right? Let's say it's speed. Let's say it could be some other metric that it improves, and that actually has some pain to the user of the application.
mm,
But then you have this other user facing feature that would actually help. I mean, the user experience, right? The user probably the sign up flow or the onboarding flow or some other flow within the application. But then your existing users have problem with achieving a particular goal. So I said focus on fixing that existing problem. There's a problem already, which is the
mm,
pain point. So focus on that, fix that, and then you can then come back to improving the user experience. Yes, make sure that the users are not feeling pain using your application. Oh, it's too slow. I mean they are waiting for too long for it to load. Yeah, it takes forever to load that kind of stuff. Fix that and that performance issue. Then you can then add more features if you want.
okay. Thank you for that answer. Two more questions so that we don't take too much time. Now, with the advance of AI, a lot of people tend to. I personally, I believe that AI is very helpful. I use it quite a lot, so in my work. But I also understand that it is not supposed to come and replace what you're doing. It's supposed to enhance it. It's supposed to help that. So, how do you see AI and automation changing the way product roadmaps are built?
Okay. For me, I've always seen AI as a tool. And I believe it should always be a tool because um, I'm not sure AI will only become users of the application. You are building for humans, right? So there
Yeah.
should be some human touch to what you do. As much as we use AI to enhance our throughput, to actually improve our speed of delivery of deployment and the rest, it shouldn't replace humans. So I think AI still has a place, but we as humans still need to be involved in the application. And it depends, it likely depends on who your users are. Because if the application is a critical application, a medical application,
Mm,
that's that of course that is tied to life. Maybe an application is using an airplane, maybe to
mm,
power the airplane. We had an issue some time ago, and it's not properly and properly reviewed by humans, and AI just does everything. You might end up in some kind of disastrous situation. So it's important to have that human touch to
mm.
the application. I don't know if it's answered the question you just asked. I
Yeah,
don't know
it
if
does. It does. So
okay.
it does. I think the person was struggling between, oh, how much involvement AI is going to come and take our job, because a lot of people are worried about that. Um
Yeah,
because of the news that yeah, AI in the next 5 years would replace a lot of roles, but I mean it will still give a lot of opportunities for people to do more things, and I think people are not concentrating on that. So
yeah.
that actually answers the question.
I think
Now,
new jobs. Okay, go on.
no, no, go
I
on.
wanted to
You can
say
go.
new. I wanted to say every technological advancement comes with new opportunities.
Yeah.
That's what we must understand. So
Mm,
with AI coming, you're going to get new roles. Just make sure you keep upskilling yourself. You you keep up to date, in your skills, you're not rusty, you're not updated, you will remain relevant because there are always going to be opportunities for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When you keep up with things that are coming up, you are consistently learning. I think most people think that because you know how to do a particular job, the knowledge that you use in 2005 will still be relevant in 2050, which really does not work like that.
That's it's a mistake.
Yeah. So one last question before we go. So for someone that is probably a product designer or a product manager and does not really or is just starting, is not an entrepreneur, probably work with a team. What is the one advice you can give to the person that's trying to like improve on their roadmap building skills?
Okay. Someone who's a product designer, developer, right?
Product developer, yeah, something like that.
Product developer or product owner or product manager, right? And
Yeah.
to improve your skills as a your roadmap designing skills, developing
Mhm.
skills. Of course, it's all about having a product. And for developer, for instance, let's say you're a developer, you would have pet projects. You could
Mm,
have side projects. I mean, you could have a roadmap for your projects. You could have a roadmap. You could start with that. Just okay, I want to just build this side project. You are working full time, but on your side you are having this pet project that who knows might become something big tomorrow. So you just have a
mm,
roadmap for it that guides you, just you. For now, it's just for you, right? Just for you. But that it guides you, gives you a direction of where to go, and of course, it guides you on when to work on it. Okay, and work on this feature from this time to this time, and right. So that little commitment will help you build that skill, develop that skill. And of course, you need to
mm.
also do some reading, some studying. There are a lot of strategies. I mean, a lot of research in this space. So
Yeah.
you need to go do some research. You're going to go do some reading to understand what is used currently and see how to apply that in your probably your day-to-day work or something like that.
Mm. Actually, that's very good. Um, Thank you very much. I have a lot of takeaways from this conversation. It was really insightful. For some
Mm.
of us that are watching you and probably wants to, know more about you, can you tell us where we can find you? Probably socials or anything that you're doing that people might be interested in knowing currently.
Okay, yeah. Currently, of course, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm mostly on LinkedIn. I think my hand is going to be shared somewhere, right? And
Yeah.
you can find me on LinkedIn. Yeah. And then you can also, I'm currently working on a number of projects. So Mark Trip is a project I'm working on, and in it's live. It's kind of live very soon. So you might want to, of course, be one of our first users uh, of Mark Trip. Mark Trip is a rice and sharing platform. So you might want to be one of our users on that in Nigeria. So, but of course, just ping me up on LinkedIn and we could start a conversation. Thank you very much, Gloria.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Trevor. It was really an honor speaking to you today. To our viewers, if you have any more questions, apologies that we are going to be cutting our conversation now. We don't want to take too much time, but you can always drop your questions in the community or on the comment section, and there'll be somebody available to answer you. So until next time, probably Friday or next week, when we come to you again with another insightful conversation, stay put, enjoy your time, and have a wonderful week ahead. Also, thank you very much, Trevor, once again for your time. We really, really appreciate, and do
Thank
have
you,
a
Gloria, for the
wonderful week.
opportunity.
You're
And you too.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye.